if there are questions, and I'm going to go to the drum. Alyssa, you can bring that up. Okay, so one of the questions is that, this is for Mr. Miller. Per the master lease and amendments between Orange County and Dana Point Harbor Partners, it requires quarterly reporting to the chief real estate officer, that's you. And so do you get those quarterly reports?
We get those reports and they are public documents.
Okay, so that was my next question. How do they, so can we put those on the website? I can put those every week in my Dana Point Harbor update?
Yeah, we can provide them to you. We can post them on the OC Real Estate has a website that we can post them on as well.
Okay, so I also want to point out, and you might have received the flyer, I think my team is going to pass them out to people who want them. Kimberly was there. So as many of you know, we're creating a Dana Point Harbor Advisory Committee, and the committee will include a representative, obviously from the CEO's office, the Dana Point Harbor Partners, boater rep, small and a large retail business rep, a committee member, the mayor of Dana Point, somebody from my office, if not me, and am I missing any representative? Community member? Ocean Institute, of course. So we have applications, and there's a form that's going around the room right now. Just raise your hand if you would like to if you're interested, because we do want to make sure that we're continuing to answer the questions. We may not have the answer that you want, but I think we have to answer the questions, and we have to try to solve the problems that people are concerned about. Okay, now, Matt, I'm going to ask you another question, nothing related to the marina, etc. Well, I guess kind of. In the past, the Sailing and Event Center had various entities utilizing the facilities. The county, since the days of the Orange County Harbor Department, has let the facility deteriorate. Groups are no longer able to utilize its meeting room. Is that this room? Oh, okay, well, you can use it. The main hall is no longer used. Where's the main hall? Right here. Okay, you can use it. The facility is in disrepair. Well, they could use a little more. Where does the future of the Sailing and Event Center lie?
The Sailing and Event Center is still owned and managed by the county. It is still open for public use. I believe, I think Pam's here. We've got an improvement project that we're planning right now for it. I know it's going to be refaced, repainted. There are going to be some improvements to try to integrate it into the way that the rest of the harbor is going to look.
Okay.
But right now, it is still a community asset. When we started this process years ago, it was very important to the harbor users and attendees that it remain open for public use, and it has remained as such. And it won't change without supervisor's approval.
Well, that's okay. So, okay, great. One thing I'll ask Pam Passow is our Orange County Parks, and I'm going to ask you to put a Wi-Fi upgrade on the list because the Wi-Fi Okay. So, whatever that plan is, if we could make sure my office gets it, so we can put it in our update. Okay. Then we want to make sure that the youth center facility remains available for use by youth programs such as the Mariners Ship 936. How can the public be assured that the youth center facility remains available for use by these existing youth programs?
And presumably we're still talking about the Sailing and Event Center?
Well, I don't know. They said youth centers. I don't know if it's the same thing. It's the same
Yeah, I
thing.
think it's used interchangeably, so it is still staying in that way. There will still be the programs and the nonprofits. And we'll try to continue to keep it available to the public and make it look nice.
Okay. Okay, wonderful. And part of my learning curve, but I'm learning about all these different names for different places that are the same. Okay, what is the future of the Ocean Institute? Okay, I can answer this question. So, as the new county representative, I'm now on the board of the Ocean Institute. They're doing a great job. We want the Ocean Institute to stay. They're currently in negotiations with the county for a 66-year lease to track what the harbor partners have. Their lease expires not until 2041, and so they're trying to get an extension of 66 years on that. So I will tell you that I am committed to making sure the Ocean Institute remains and grows and continues to be a So, what I want to do is I want to turn to the drum, and what's our time here? It's 7:16. Okay, so I'm gonna say we're gonna go until 7:45. People can leave earlier if they want, but I will take questions from here. We'll take answers until 7:45. We've been here for more than 2 hours.
Why don't we handle the important thing right now first? We went through all this other.
What's the important thing? The slip fees.
Pricing.
Yeah, we can't. I think we did handle. Excuse me, sir. I think we did handle that, which we said. He said that they're not going to change the slip fees. Okay. So now it's my job. It's my job to work with them to come up with some solutions, and that's why I'm creating the advisory committee. I can't give you an answer on that tonight because we don't have one. Okay. But what I'm telling you is that I think the slip fees are too expensive, and I will do what I can. But I don't want to make any promises to anyone because of all these things that were negotiated before I got here. But yeah, I don't make false promises to people. I will work on this. I'll do everything in my power to negotiate the fees. Okay. There's not much else I can do. Okay. Okay, this is for you, Matt. I think you're going to get all these questions. Okay. Why was a third party not used to determine the increase in the slip rent? Was the land side value used at all?
So no, there was not a third party used because the county does have in-house appraisal and valuation staff. So when we got the methodology that the partners used, it was reviewed internally. There was not a third party used at that time, but in future ones, that is a possibility to the extent that we think the methodology is not.
Okay. Someone left their wallet. Where is it, Alyssa? In the front with our staff. If you've lost your wallet, please go to the museum. Okay, another question about the slip fees. Were the slip fees based on the average of all marinas along the coast? Dana Point Harbor Boaters Association showed a chart comparison of Dana Point Harbor partners and the average of all marinas. The numbers are way off. Can you address that, Matt?
The slip surveys that we saw show that the current slip rates are below market. Now, if there are other, we're always happy to see what people have to propose and to show to us. We haven't received any alternate surveys that show differently, but we're happy to look at them.
Can we look at the ones you did get?
Say that again?
Can we look at the ones that you did get?
Yes, I'll make sure to get that for you. Okay, is there a platform, or I guess a plan for dealing with the sea lion invasion on the docks of I had my staff this week researching sea lion and how to deal with sea lions, but also maintain sea lions in the area. So I'll let Joe answer.
As a dock builder, I'm not a fan of sea lions. And so I know there's people that adore the sea lions, but I'm on the opposite side, just to let you know where I stand. We've been looking at what they're doing in Oceanside. If you create a platform, does that take them off the docks? And we're seeing that's really not working well. We're just watching them, it just creates a bigger colony. One thing that people argue with me on it, but everyone I've talked to says, hey, one of the issues is the bait. They're attracted to food and fish, and people say, give me the study. I don't believe it if they want to have a bait container in their docks. I've talked to, we need bait in this harbor. I understand that, but there's a lot of things that we're going to try to communicate. We're asking people not to dump their bait right at the harbor entrance. If we can do it further out, those are policies that are working other places. If you look at what's happening here, you don't see many harbors that have that kind of bird droppings at the beginning of the harbor. Why is that there? You can smell it when you're coming around. There's a reason. We're dumping way too much bait in that area. They are attracted to fish. I mean, I've had arguments where people say they're not. But So we're going to work on it, but like, I know for some people, having bait in their slips, and we're saying no to that, is a very big issue, but we're going to see its impact. And if we're wrong on it, we can change things. But we know the sea lion is presence, mostly on the east side where we have commercial fishermen, we have fishing boats, they're following them in. And we're trying to work with a lot of people. At one point, I looked at, could I put electrodes into the docks? I mean, we looked at everything. We did it. But I'm just saying, we've looked at a lot of things, but we just want to deter them as much as we can because, you know.
All right, thank you. Now, I did note that there's a Pier 39 in San Francisco. They basically created an area. They put some docks out there that the sea lions just hung out on that weren't used for slips. I don't know, there's probably some solution, but they are all over the place, and so we've got to come up with some solution. And I think there's a resident here who suggested that I research this issue and look at Pier 39, so thank you for that.
I mean, Pier 39 would be on the opposite side of what the vast majority of voters care about.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's an example. Okay, so did Dana Point Harbor Partners not have the funds needed prior to asking the, I don't know if that word is, prior to accepting the harbor? Why have they passed all these expenses on and the rates to the retail stores, the restaurants, and the boat shows? So I think we've kind of covered that, and we'll keep talking about that. Okay, let's see. Oh, here's a question about the 4th of July. In front of the hotel area, how are we going to have people come down on the 4th of July and load their boats and not have a mess? Christmas lights, Labor Day and Memorial Day, etc. Who wants to address that one?
So that was where we are creating two, showed on the image, on Island Way. So we have two drop-offs. Okay. So you can see it here, right here, and right there. And that feeds these docks and those docks.
Okay.
That's not going to work.
Okay, so I think what we'll do for that question is I'm going to get a write-up about it. We'll send it out. We'll get comment from the community. Okay, so no security on Gate 8 dock. Gate 8, handicapped, 80 feet gangway with the gate at the bottom of the gangway. What's to stop people from climbing the gangway sides? Is that...
Gate 8 hasn't arrived. It should be here in about 9 days. And it's going to be instilled onto the dock itself. It's just a better access for the handicap access to put it on the dock. There will be a gate on dock 8.
Here's a question for you, Bryon. Do you have Coastal Commission approval for the land site?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Where will reserved boaters parking be? Reserved boaters parking.
We have, you can look at the map here, but this is dedicated boater parking in all the areas that are similar as today. Here, the same thing, that's boater designated parking. The areas that we have talked about that are really changing are the East Basin. And in that parking structure, at the front of it, are boater dedicated parking. And they need to go there and access this point. This one and this one will be boater parking underneath the hotel. And I mean, we can show layouts of it and what we're presenting to the Coastal Commission. I know a lot of people are looking at going, this is crazy. But I mean, we have gone through a lot of things. We even have some people like to use this covered parking. You're not going to have to walk around. You'll come park and go straight onto the boardwalk. It's a platform that's about 12 feet tall, 14 feet tall.
Okay, thank you for that. And Bryon, or maybe Joey, this is your question as well. When will the bathroom renovations commence and be completed? And we talked about that.
Yeah, probably start, I would say, right now in probably 2 years, and try to complete it when we complete the renovation, complete the marina.
Okay, this is a question for Matt. When does the county plan to audit the Bellwether contract?
So there are independent contracts for the different entities. It was purposely done as one contract. They provide audited statements annually that are reviewed by an outside CPA and by the inside audit and budget departments. So it basically happens annually.
Okay, so the audit is done annually, and we have a copy of those, right?
We have a copy of those, and they've been requested by the public.
Okay, and I think what we'll do on our website, Alyssa, Stephanie, are you, yes. We need to just have a page that's a Dana Point Harbor updates on our website, and then we'll just add all this stuff on there. Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you. Okay. When will more native trees be planted? Oh, I can answer this question on Friday. That's the best answer of the night. How many trees are we planting on Friday? Pam? No, I know, but yeah, in here. 6 trees here? Okay, well, we need more than that, but that's a good start. Well, we're actually planting 150 trees on Friday in District 5 in all different places throughout the district, so we're getting 6 trees here. I'll double check that, I think it's more. But what are the tree specimens, do we know?
No, but they can join us, the information's on the flyer.
Okay, perfect, all right. Okay, trees are very important. I'm a huge tree advocate. Wherever we can plant more trees, I'll do it. The impact of this massive growth will affect the environment. What is being done to encourage biking? More mass transportation? How eco-friendly are these buildings? Okay, so let's address the eco-friendly buildings first, and then we'll talk about the transportation. Bryon?
First of all, the building code requires us to build to a level that really puts us at a LEED certification. Unfortunately, actually formally acquiring a LEED certification has been a process that has been made to be very expensive, and frankly, we'd like to put that right back in the building. But we are being approved by the county. We're subject to all of the uniform building codes. And all of those have a huge priority on building efficiency, sustainability, and all those design elements have been included in our project.
Okay, and then let's talk about the biking, making it more accessible.
Yeah, so we actually have a detailed transportation plan, and biking is included in that. Now, having said that, we also acknowledge, particularly in the case of e-bikes, pedestrians and e-bikes don't get along that well. I wish that everybody on e-bikes paid a little bit more attention to rules, but so we are going to we're going to have specific rules in place when it comes to certainly e-bikes. We'll have bike racks planned throughout the project, so we will continue to encourage biking down in the harbor. In fact, even more so. The way that we're contemplating all the common areas and the island and everything else. This is an incredibly pedestrian-friendly and biking-friendly environment, and we're incorporating all those things into our design.
Okay, and then can you also address the same card? What happened to the nautical theme? That's the question. I don't know if that means what.
Look, I mean, I think everybody has their own opinions on architecture and design. I think that we maintain the theme. All of the building materials that we're using are all nautical materials. Board and batten, shiplap siding. We even have, cedar shingle roofs in some cases. We've got a lot of nautical, traditional, quite frankly, we have board and batten on the existing buildings. And we'll continue to have board and batten on the new buildings. So, having said that, there's a lot of contemporary design elements built into this project, as I mentioned before. We really want buildings that are accordion open, provide fresh air, so indoor and outdoor spaces are sort of one and the same. And so all those things to a lot of people take on a little bit more of a modern flair, but they're really, really important to modern design and to healthy buildings. So those are really the priority.
Okay, thank you. All right, and then another question, how many boat trailer parking spaces are there, I can't read it, compared to the original? How many boat trailer parking spaces are there compared to the original? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I mean, in the local coastal plan, we're still in the entire process working with the city. It's 332. But if you go out there and you look right now, a lot of times it's not utilized. We work with the city saying, how can we use it for some parking at times, but it's a priority. If you look at Labor Day weekend, we dedicate all 332 to day boater parking. We're going to have to do the same in less area. It's just geography, it's hard. People, I mean, we can lie on the math and that stuff, but what we're really trying to do is how do we design it in the best way? There's no way for us to launch 332 boats and retrieve them in a day safely. And so I'd rather working with the Coastal Commission and working with people in the community who utilize the area frequently, how do we design it right? Because, you know, if I do 40-foot slips, a lot of them are bigger. We just want to do it right, and all the drawings that I've done in the past really are not to scale. So it's something that we're work under progress, but we're going to have 332 spaces unless we reach an agreement later to maybe make them a little bit larger. And so we have some alternatives that we're looking at, but it's a very difficult deal to remove the whole parking area that we're doing for the parking garage and say, get rid of that, but keep exactly what you have. And that's been a struggle for us, and we're working through it.
Okay, and then the same question as to the pull-through spaces?
The pull-through spaces, I think, is a better way to do it than what you see before, because people are not going to reverse. We're working with people who utilize it all the time, but it takes up more space. We have to have more aisleways, and we're losing real estate. I mean, it's just a difficult problem. We're going to be working with a dry stack facility. The building doesn't make sense. I've looked at those type of buildings, they're just drawn wrong. There's no way to get that many boats of that size into that building, and to hang it over the water is not going to be acceptable to Coastal Commission, but we're working with it. We would love to get input more from the community and the people who are passionate about it. One of the things we did not answer before was dinghies. There are spaces that we're looking at to, can we make those dinghy areas? We know that some people have 4 dinghies in a slip. That's not really working when we have a huge demand for slips, but we know it's an issue. We're also looking at some of the storage. Can it be dinghy storage over in that dry stack area? I know that's not a perfect solution, but it's on top of our mind, and working with Kelly to see what alternatives we have. And we do have areas that have been unallocated that could be allocated to dinghies.
Okay. Okay, we have another question. It's actually for you.
Why no holding tank pump out at the dock/slip? And then it just says shipyard and full dock.
I don't know what that means.
I mean, one of the things that we've done, which is people are going to enjoy it over time, mostly for the vessels 30 feet and above, is that you have ability to pump out at your slip. And we see that being one of the highest things in, people talk about Long Beach. Long Beach really likes it. Other people will have different ones, but we still need public pump out. And in the outer basin, there will be several pump outs located in the outer basin.
Okay, why are there no more liveaboards?
We still have liveaboards. Right now, during construction, we have not accepted liveaboards because they have a lot more demand. It's harder when you talk about someone's living condition to move them around. So we still have liveaboards, but we said, let's wait till we're done through revitalization, because moving a recreational boater around versus moving someone's home around is much more complex.
Okay, say
What?
it again.
No,
Say it again. Speak up. So we don't hear you.
If you was asking about Coastal Commission, they do limit the number we have. We have a cap, we're not at the cap, but
What's the cap? Do you know?
I do not know about
Can you let us know?
Yeah, we can.
10%.
10%.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, hopefully you'll apply for the advisory. Okay, all right, so what, this is a multi-part question for various different people. So there was 4 proposed parking structures that whoever this is bid on 3 times. What is the status?
4 parking structures?
I don't know.
I'm not.
Okay. Okay, so we already talked about the status of the parking structure. Have you already accepted the bid for the contract? Do you know who's gonna build it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have, and it's going to be,
I'm
2,
just gonna-
sure.
It's going to be 2 separate contractors. One is really good at building parking structures. However, site work, landscaping, high-level finishes, which we actually have in the case of the parking structure because we are building motor service facilities in there, which are going to be really nice, much nicer than what exists today. We brought 2 different contractors in, and so they're working together, but their scope is separate.
Okay, and then the other question is, why are they allowing non-boaters into the launch ramp parking area? No room during the summer.
I mean, I think I've tried to answer this before. There's a lot of demands here, but the priority goes to the day boater parking. We have a plan with we even have trolleys out there helping the city. And you're going there a lot of the times it's empty. But when it's busy, mostly when the fishing's good, we had a great dorado season last year and it was hopping. And we have a plan to say, okay, we're moving the cars out. This is going to be the priority. But we have 3 different areas. Most of the time, the primary area works. But when it doesn't, we're going to the secondary area, and then we're going to go into the third, like we did over Labor Day weekend.
Okay. It's 20. I'm sorry? 20 trees. Oh, even better. We're planting 20 trees. I knew it was more. 20 trees. Do you know what kind?
Whatever works here.
Okay. we're planting sycamores. We're planting native trees. So yeah. Okay. Okay. So this is just a comment, and I'll just state it because I pulled it out of the drum. This is a shame what you are doing to our beloved harbor. Boaters are paying an immense amount of fees for nothing. Okay. Why are you charging so much and doing so little? Okay, we need more double wide docks with the finger removed for catamaran multi-holes. No place to dock them. It is I don't know what that word is, something design of the future. Check out the charter bus. Does that make sense? Somebody from catamaran freestyle.
Yeah. Basically, if you go to other regions of the United States, you only see double wides. It costs less to build from that standpoint. Catamarans are getting more popular. They're now really focused on end ties. We do have a section which is designated broker, which are double wides, and based on how much we need in that area, that's a possibility to dedicate to catamarans. But we went with the premise of having single berth slips, and that's what we had before, and that's what we went for and got approved in the coastal commission.
Okay, so George is not happy with the town hall and believes that it was just a lecture, so I'm sorry, I did try to have questions and answers. But he has a question. Blocking navigable waterway is restricted. What gives you that right? Do you know what that means?
I'm not sure. I will try to assume that he's talking about.
I know what he meant.
Okay.
The docks are coming out on the west side at least to the bridge, and they weren't that way. So with the docks coming out into the harbor more, it's narrowed that channel. And he used to have a frontline main channel slip to come out with a 50-foot boat. So that's limiting the turn basin in that. That's what he was talking about.
Okay. I mean, when you look at the studies prior to my time, they had been even more narrow. We've tried to keep it within this area here, so the passageway is the same, so it doesn't go beyond. And to move it further, you can go out on a dock and see the difference. We did that together to see it is. It's not navigable, but we tried to say, hey, how can we fit the numbers in here that we need to do and preserve this as much as we can. But to have this little space here or here, we thought, you know, let's maximize it, let's make the slips a little bit wider, let's try to look for the future. But we think the channel is still a great channel, and we try to protect that.
Okay, this question, we're gonna have to probably provide an answer to. I'm not sure that you can answer this up here, but this is for you, Mr. Miller. What was the traditional net income prior to the master lease versus the ground lease payments thus far from the partners? Okay, we'll get the answer to that question. I don't know.
We have the amounts that we got in the old operating agreements versus the right now.
Okay, so we'll answer that question. Okay. Then, how many boaters have left the harbor since the rent increase? Do you know the answer?
I'm not going to give you the exact number but I know what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that over a year and a half from now, or over the last year and a half, we haven't accepted anyone off the wait list because we need attrition. We need to be able to have spaces to move people around. And I believe what we did is we looked at the previous, and we have less people leaving because every month we would have 30 people leave to 40 voters. That was a regular occurrence. But now people know that if they leave, they might not get back in. We're having less people leave. But I would say since we raised the rates, it's about 300 boats that have left the harbor. And which is a little bit, but let's just say when we're doing this next phase, we're displacing 300 boats. We gotta find a place to put it. And so for us, we're just not taking people off the wait list, which is a crime because they've been waiting for so long, and they all want to share what you guys get. But that's the answer.
Okay. Have you considered the noise impact of events to people who live above the harbor? Is there a noise study?
Yeah, we actually do. We have decibel levels and things like that that we have to maintain with all those events and things like that were addressed in our original approvals.
There are noise studies that were part of the original, the environmental impact report that was done for the revised local coastal plan has those. It's got noise studies, viewshed studies, all of the things that the renovation of the harbor would affect.
Okay, so we have 5 more questions. My team is telling me I have like 1 more minute. I whiz through these. I might go more than a minute. So just wanted to say, this is a comment. Just wanted to say we love what you're doing. These are the best dogs we've ever seen. Can't wait for more. Okay, somebody wrote some comments. Okay. Joe, did you put that in, Joe? Okay, so here's a question for you, Joe. Joe said that marina money needs to stay in the marina. Where has the 50 years of slip fees gone? Well, that's actually more for Matt.
That is true. We are legally required to keep the money within the harbor. So the fund that the supervisor asked for before, which is Fund 108, you can track the money that came in and came out and show that over the years that money has been used within the harbor, and actually from 2000 to 2018, it had to be supplemented by the general parks budget.
Okay, so it wasn't enough money being generated to pay for the harbor, and yet we have so much deferred maintenance here. Okay, will most or all of the harbor parking be public and free? Yes or no?
Yes, we don't.
It's yes or no? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, all right. why is the East Basin configuration restricted to 3 gates?
If you look at one, we just wanted to make sure that we didn't have as many gates in where we have the most pedestrian walkways. And so I think they're talking about ramps, 3 access points. And because in there, we're gonna have 3 gates on, you know, a couple of the different ones, but we really wanted to look at how we could tie the land side with the water side instead of trying to look at them totally separately. How can they benefit each other?
Okay, we've got 4 more questions. Do the partners have approved financing?
I'll do it. I mean, we went and did a very long process. We talked about the estoppel that everyone voted upon. We ran into a very bad market. It wasn't just us, it was the bank. I mean, we were very, very close to getting our financing. The market has changed, I think we all know that. For them, it was very difficult. So now we're self-funding as we're looking at other alternatives. But that's a straight answer because you did vote on it. The market changed on us. Really not from our perspective, but from theirs. You will see a lot of banks that have just stopped because they're in a very bad position. And we had to face that in front of that. But we are getting every phase that we do, we are showing that we have the cash to finish it.
And that's a requirement of the contract. Okay, don't see any solar panels on any of the building renderings. Is solar part of the plans? You know I asked this question. It's not my question.
We also have view corridors and things like that that we have to adhere to. So I would love the idea of doing solar, but the issue is going to be the existing residents that we have up down at Harbor, and being a little bit conscientious about them.
What about over the parking garages?
Same thing. In fact, we even studied early on the idea of doing solar panels and a canopy system and other things, but we have overall building height issues that we have to adhere to, and other types of matters that just make it a lot more complicated.
Okay, I think we already addressed this question about you can't buy a dog box, put it on your own dog. I think we addressed the question, what is the distance a boater will have to walk from the parking structure to the docks by the bridge on the channel? Did we talk about that?
I mean, the requirement is 300 for the vast majority. Some of it can go up to 600. Most of ours are right in the 300 mark.
And you're gonna have, what is it called, dock carts, right?
Yeah, the dog carts, one thing right now, you can't even find them. We have new dog carts. We're not satisfied with them, but they're new. But we're going to figure out how to build even better dog boxes. I mean, dog carts.
2 more questions.
It's been a couple hours, yeah.
Okay. Wish there was more on schedules. Top level schedule for the 3 components, then 3 next level schedules: voting, retail, hotels, cost of financing, revenues, financial viability. So I'll just answer this. We'll get the schedules, we'll get those posted up, and then everyone can see that, okay? Okay, please talk about the last question. Thank you all for staying. You guys are troopers. Please talk about launch ramp and parking. Will it be adequate in midsummer? During fishing season, you're allowing non-boaters to park in the boat trailer parking area. That's wrong. I know we addressed this, but just one more final addressing of it.
I mean, right now, I think we have a good plan how it's working. When we have a parking structure, we're going to have to have dry boaters storage. Some of them relocate just as part of the local coastal plan. Just then we can accommodate the demand for the day boat parking.
Okay. And then we did get a long letter, and I'm not going to read the whole letter, but we will answer this in a written form. What are your plans to improve the harbor options for the boat owners who make up our community and have had boats here, some of them for decades? What are you adding rather than taking away, and why haven't you made an effort to find out what's important to us? And that's what we're trying to do here, and also what we're going to try to do with this Dana Point Harbor Advisory Committee. So I appreciate all of you. Yes?
So as part of the sign up for this meeting, you were allowed to offer questions
Yes.
as you signed up. I'm sure there's quite a few of those. Will those be?
Well, I asked almost all of those questions. My team wrote them all out for me, and during the whole presentation, I've been asking the question. Was your question not asked?
Not specifically.
Okay, what's your question?
Well, I can take it off.
Okay, I'll answer it though. We tried to, where we thought there were duplicate questions, we kind of tried to consolidate. Maybe we consolidated a question we thought was a duplicate, but it wasn't.
But your staff did consolidate all the input.
Yes, we have 100 questions, and I've almost asked every single one of them.
Thank you very much.
Okay. We were really trying, the ones that, there were a couple questions that I thought were very technical in nature that I thought we could do a written response. And all of these questions that I have in these notes here, we are going to have the answers for on our website, okay? Okay. All right, thank you. Oh, another question.
General question. Who is intended for the use of the harbor?
The harbor is a community asset. It's intended for the community. It's a public harbor, but it obviously has private components. It has private businesses and private boats. And so it's a public harbor. It's intended for the community, and I am committed to that. And, you know, we have a lot of great people here who, I mean, look at, this is the dolphin and whale watching capital of the world. I've learned so much. There's the John's Fish Shop. I mean, there's so many great places here. And so we want to retain what's here now. And is that Dr. Haley? We want to retain what's here now and then really grow into the future. So this project is moving forward. We're going to try to address a couple of these things that are nagging at this community here. The slip fees, all the extra little ancillary fees for things that you're used to having, the transparency. We're going to try to address that as best we can. But the best way that we can address it is for this project to get expedited, get moving forward, get revenue generated coming in so that we can pay for things. And so I am committed to that process. I am committed to supporting the effort. I'm committed to all of you in keeping you informed and trying my best as a person who's inherited this project to do right by you. And I'm not going to do everything the way everyone wants me to do because I don't have the power to. But I'm going to try to address what I see are, like, it's really a handful of issues that people just continue to be concerned about that I feel have not been addressed. And so I'm going to do my best to address them. And now I'm getting the hook because we're in way past our time. I'm so grateful that you all came out.